Hi, in this video, we're going to be talking about are rising and falling bond yields always a sign of potential rising or falling interest rates? Let's get into the questions. So the answer is no. Of course, there's always nuances and exceptions to what we would consider, the rule. So rising and falling bond yields are not always a sign of rising or falling interest rates. While they often reflect expectations of higher or lower rates, yields can rise or fall for other important reasons. And here is a breakdown. So, when rising yields signal rising rates, market expects central bank tightening, so due to inflation or strong economic data, and hawkish central bank communication, hot inflation prints, market prices in rate hikes, and in these cases, yields rise because investors demand higher compensation for expected future short-term uh, rates. Right, so we've covered this in the previous video. So when rising yields don't reflect rate hikes, so sometimes on a price chart you'll see yields start to rise, doesn't mean that it's always going to reflect that the central bank will hike rates are guaranteed to. So this is when it doesn't reflect rate hikes, so higher inflation expectations, but without central bank action yet. So if inflation is rising, but the central bank is behind the curve, then bond yields may rise independently. This especially affects longer duration bonds where inflation erodes returns more. And you've got increased government bond supply, so debt issuance. When the government issues a large amount of debt, for example, to fund deficits, bond prices will fall and yields will rise. An example of that is US Treasury auctions with weak demand often lead to higher yields regardless of Fed policy. So, real world examples. So, this is an example of the first um, example. So, what we have is the 2 year right here, 2 year yield, and then we have interest rates. And what we had is in the yield started to rise, right? So, it went from pretty much a low rate around 0.2%, 0.1%, um, up to 1.3%. Yet, during the time of September, October, November, December into 2022, interest rates pretty much stayed flat. So, when rising yields don't reflect rate hikes, so falling demand for bonds, so risk sentiment shifts, so investors sell safe haven bonds in favor of equities or risk assets, and yields will rise. So, foreign holders, for example, China or Japan, reducing their holdings pushes yields higher, and also as well quantitative tightening QT. You have central banks reducing their balance sheets, which leads to less demand for bonds, which leads to prices falling, which leads to yields rising. And this is not necessarily tied to short term rate changes. So there are reasons why, rising yields don't always reflect rate hikes. And again, these things will be normally written about in the news articles like, Bloomberg and Reuters and the Financial Times. Also, as well, you've got the term premium increase. Investors demand more compensation for holding long term bonds due to uncertainty, inflation, or duration risk. And the yield curve steepens without rate hike expectations. So, we'll talk about the yield curve in a little bit. And six is technical or liquidity factors. So, market dislocations, low liquidity, or hedging flows can cause yields to rise independently of fundamentals. So when falling yields reflect expected rate cuts, right? So we just dealt with rising, now we're going to deal with falling. And this is when it normally does reflect. So weak economic data, for example, slowing GDP, rising unemployment. We've got dovish central bank signals or forward guidance. We've got inflation dropping below target. And we've also got financial stress or credit market deterioration. So, in these cases, falling yields, especially short term ones, often signal the market is pricing in central bank So let's look at when falling yields don't imply imminent rate cuts. And one would be when safe haven demand, risk off sentiment is prevalent. So, in times of geopolitical tension, financial stress, or recession fears, investors buy government bonds, leading to price rises and leading to falling yields. An example of that was during COVID. The COVID crash in early 2020, yields collapsed despite rate cuts not yet materializing. And also, as well, flight to quality or global spillovers. So, if global bond yields fall, for example, the ECB or the Bank of Japan is easing, it can drag US or other yields lower through arbitrage and capital flows. And now there are some key distinctions, which is the short term versus long term yields. And short term yields, for example, the 3 month or like the 2 year, typically closely tied to central bank rate expectations. And long term yields, the 10 year and the 30 year, typically are influenced by inflation growth outlook, bond supply, and term premiums. So, in many ways, the 30 year and the 10 year kind of will lead to what the central bank does in the short term anyway. So it's good to look at, the yields across the whole time frames in terms of short term and long term. And there's something called the yield curve, which we'll get into in a sec. But before we do that, in 2022, yields rose due to Fed tightening and inflation fears. So the correlation is there, where you have the 2 year yields right here, you have the interest rates, and you can see that yields rose in alignment with interest rates, right? So that's not typical, right? But in 2023, 2024, yields sometimes rose even when the Fed was expected to pause due to surging US deficits and bond supply concerns. So let's go to that chart. And what you'll see here, in fact, is one sec. Yeah, you'll get the interest rates here. So the Fed interest rates, of course, and then you have 2 year, and you saw yields go from something like 5.1% down to like 4.3%. It didn't indicate that interest rates were falling, and then you actually had a move all the way up from 4.3 to like nearly 5%, but it didn't lead to yields rising. So there was something obviously else going on beyond the price charts, which led to yields rising and falling, but the Federal Reserve not um, uh, uh, moving rates. And of course, that was due to maybe surging deficits and bond supply concerns. So, an important note is the yield curve shape. So, if short term yields fall faster than long term yields, it often does signal expected rate cuts. And if long-term yields fall while short-term yields uh, stay high, it can reflect growth concerns, disinflation expectations, and term premium compressions, where the extra return investors demand for holding long-term bonds, which is known as the term premium, is shrinking, often due to factors like heavy central bank bond buying, quantitative easing, or QE as it's known, reducing supply or lower interest rate uncertainty. So both, when we're looking at yield curves, right? So you've got a yield curve, and with the yield curve, what it's saying is that if the short term, so this would represent, for example, the shorter time frames like the 2 year. One second. This would represent like the 2 year, right? And as we go higher, it would be like the 3 year, then the 10 year, then the 20 year, down up to the 30 year, right? So that's basically what this is saying, right? The 30 year, and then you've got, of course, yield as a percentage, right? And it obviously rises. Now, if you start to see the yield curve shorter dated um, bonds like the 2 year, the 1 year, the 3 month, for example, start to fall quicker than you have the long dated yields. what it's saying is that this is an example of a signal that is expected to lead to rate cuts, right? So depending on the shape of the curve, yeah, depending on the shape of of the yield curve, let's say for example it looks something like this, right, where it's very very steep, that can lead or be a signal that um, yields are signaling that there could be the potential for uh, interest rate expected cuts. Now, if long term yields fall while short term ones stay high, that's known as the inverted yield curve, and it could signal, of course, growth concerns, disinflation expectations, and term premium compression. So, inverted yield curves, growth concerns, which would be things like a recession, right? It's known as the potential for a recession on the horizon, or the bond basically signaling that there could be a recession coming, right? So short-term yields, right? So, well, I should say longer-term yields, like the 30-year, the 20-year, are lower than the shorter-term yields, which leads to this type of yield curve, an inverted yield curve. Again, the market is concerned with growth concerns, disinflation expectations, and term premium compression. So, in summary, falling yields can reflect expected rate cuts, but not always. They may also signal risk aversion, so flight to safety, falling inflation expectations, structural or technical demands for bonds. So, understanding which part of the curve is falling and why is key to interpreting the signal, and that is really key. It's which part of the yield curve is falling and why. It's the why that really matters. So, just looking at a price chart or a yield chart, bond yield chart, and seeing it rise and fall, it needs some context to it. And that's where, again, you have to kind of brush up on what is happening in the market and the fundamental analysis as reported, by reputable news sources. So, in summary, while rate hike expectations are the primary driver of rising yields, and rate cuts are the primary driver of falling yields, they're far from the only factor, especially for long duration bonds. So, in the next video, we'll be talking about the key takeaways, summarizing it all, wrapping it up into a nice little bow. The key takeaways with regards to inflation, interest rate, bond yields, GDP, and currency value.